Greetings. This is Doc Ock coming to you live and direct from Black Facts Headquarters Central this evening with another installment of Doc Ock at noon and 9. So we hope everybody's out there feeling real fine, because we're going to give you something as fine as wine in the summertime. Oh yes, we've got something special for you in store tonight. We finished up on our piece we were doing to introduce the our celebration of Juneteenth last night with the end of the book, The Five Negro, or you could say the Five Black Presidents. We finished up that book last night, and we're moving on. I hope that you were able to catch our presentation we did this afternoon at noon. Did a really nice presentation again on Juneteenth with a number of videos from Juneteenth celebrations from the previous year, from 2020, which was a banner year for Juneteenth, mainly because Donald T. Rump decided he wanted to do something on that day and people objected to it, so he had to actually figure out what Juneteenth is and actually make a change in his plans. And you know how hard that is to get him to change his mind about anything. But he did. And we have used a number of those videos in our lead up to our celebration of Juneteenth 2021, the 156th anniversary of the first celebration of Juneteenth. And also the 100th anniversary of the Tulsa Massacre, by the way. Yeah, that's on the top of a lot of people's minds right now also. Meanwhile, you know what we need you to do? A couple of things. Number one, if you're watching on Facebook, give us a like. If you're watching on YouTube, give us the old thumbs up. And no matter what platform you happen to be watching on, please, please, please make sure to go ahead and inform your friends, your family, your relatives. We have been getting a lot of friends requests. We would prefer that you subscribe to our YouTube channel instead of loading up our Facebook friends category, because we're at I think 3,500, 3,500 or so, and we can only fit 5,000 people in. We can only have 5,000 friends. So once we hit 5,000, then we got to try and work something else out. But in the meanwhile, we can have as many subscribers on our YouTube channel without limit. So please go to our YouTube channel, sign up on the YouTube channel, direct your friends and your family there. It's easy peasy, lemon squeezy. I don't have to approve it. You just go there, hit the subscribe button, and you will be notified when we're online doing our thing. Meanwhile, let's go ahead and do a proverb tonight. We've got one not from Ethiopia. This one says, sickness accompanies a waning moon. A new moon cures disease. Sickness accompanies a waning moon. That means the moon's getting smaller. You can see less and less of it. A new moon, which is totally pitch black, by the way, cures disease. Now, why would that be? That's an interesting question. Well, I guess you're going to have to find somebody from Basuto land and ask them, because that is a Basuto land proverb. Moving on to our story for tonight. We're coming out of an old favorite book of ours we haven't read from in a while, the African American Book of Values. Excellent book. I highly recommend this book. I recommend it so much that I even got a copy for my dad, and this is actually his copy. So we're going to read from his copy of the African American Book of Values. Let me get my glasses on so I can read properly here. All right. and we're going to read about Juneteenth by Lisa Jones. Oh, let me not forget to put on our slideshow here. Oh, I see it's going to give me a few issues. Give me a few issues here, but we'll solve that right quick. En un momentito, por favor, mi amigos y amigas. Yeah, here we go. Whoops, that's not the right one. Where'd it go? Ah, there, that one. All right, now we're in there. In like Flynn. Wait a minute, there's nothing there. Well, that's odd. Should be something there. Okay, let's try that again. I don't know what happened there. Always something. It's always something. Everything else looks good. Oh, here, let's try this. Now we hit the right thing. Just the wrong thing came up. That's odd. Let's try it again. Okay. Oh, here. There's the problem. Now I got it. Okay, we're good now. All right. Sorry about that. Technical. It's always something technical. It's always something technical, keeping us from making a spectacle. Always something technical. All right, now we're all good here. And there. All right, now you can see what we were talking about. All right, so Juneteenth by Lisa Jones. Abraham Lincoln issued the Emancipation Proclamation, a presidential decree to free slaves and admit blacks into the armed forces. On January 1st, 1863, most slaves in the South did not hear about the proclamation for years, learning of it from various sources. Free blacks in New Orleans, Louisiana, spread word of Lincoln's directive in their own French-English newspaper, Le Union. But in Texas, news may have come to blacks via mule-back messenger. In 1992, a New York journalist investigated how and when Texans celebrate an annual holiday commemorating freedom. There are 3 old legends told of how enslaved Africans in the Texas territory came to know of their freedom, and why the word didn't get to them until 2 months after the Civil War ended, which was a good 2.5 years after the actual Emancipation Proclamation had been presented. Okay. Or, to make it plain, rather late. One legend says the messenger, a black Union soldier, was murdered. Another says he arrived but had been delayed by mule travel. A variation on this is that he had stopped to get married. Oh yeah, that's like the shiftless nigger. The third and favorite is that the news was withheld by white landowners so they could bleed one less crop from slave labor. Now, pick one. What is held as fact is that June 19th, the day that federal troops rode into Galveston with orders to release those kept as slaves, has been celebrated for 127 years at the time of the writing of this book in Texas and beyond as Emancipation Day, or Jubilation Day, or Juneteenth, the day the last ones heard, so to speak. Juneteenth, the name is one of those fab African Americanisms, functional, rhythmic, and at once concise and not too concise. It fuses the month of June with the number 19 and alludes to the fact that the holiday was held in adjoining states on different days of the month as folks got the word. Early emancipation rituals were not exclusive to Texas, South Carolina, and Mississippi's fall in May, or to the South. Now, what is this? Somehow, those pictures aren't supposed to be in there. Okay. Well, I guess I just have to put up with them. Dang. I don't know how those pictures got in there. Okay. Oh, boy. What may have been the first emancipation ceremony was held in New York as early as 1808 to mark the legal cessation of the slave trade. Now we're getting down to the real nitty-gritty. No state comes close to Juneteenth in Texas. The black folks' 4th of July, with its parades, feasting, pageants, and preachifying. Emancipation Day organizations in Texas date back to the turn of the century. The most powerful image from the early days must have been former slaves themselves, who, according to tradition, marched together at the end of parade lines. By the 1950s, Juneteenth Day came to be linked with not freedom from slavery, but segregation. On Juneteenth, Texas's Jim Crow cities would allow blacks to be citizens for 12 hours a year by granting them entry into whites-only parks and zoos. With the passage of civil rights legislation in the 60s, refined black Texans abandoned Juneteenth to their country cousins and took to celebrating Independence Day in July along with their white brethren. Wow, well, that's interesting. A Juneteenth renaissance has been gathering steam since the mid-80s, spurred by the Afrocentricity crusade. Beyond being a hootenanny for black Texas, the condescending, folksy portrait favored by the local press, it's become a holiday eagerly adopted nationwide by African Americans in search of cultural signposts. Not to mention one that offers, as is required these days, a dramatic tube and t-shirt friendly soundbite of black history. The J-Day momentum is due in large part to the efforts of a man you might call Daddy Juneteenth. State Representative Al Edwards from Houston, Texas. Edwards sponsored the bill that made Juneteenth an official Texas holiday 13 years ago, a feat in a state that still closes banks for Confederate Heroes Day. Juneteenth USA, Edwards' organization, tracks J-Day rights across the country and is fundraising for a national educational headquarters. To Edwards, the holiday has tremendous secular and sacred promise. He sees it as an economic vehicle for African Americans, as well as a day that should be observed with almost holy remembrance. The Jews say if they ever forget their history, may their tongues cleave to the roof of their mouth. Let the same happen to us. You can find Juneteenth rituals in all regions of the country now. States like California, where Texans migrated en masse, have held Juneteenth festivities for decades. The New York area's largest is in Buffalo, tapping into upstate's rich history of anti-slavery activity. Wisconsin counts at least 5, including Milwaukee's, where Juneteenth has been celebrated since 1971 and is the best attended single-day cultural event in the state. Far from being family picnics, these festivals sometimes last for days, made possible by the legwork of community groups, city cooperation, and private sector donations. Juneteenth in Minneapolis, now in its 7th year, is building a rep as one of the most progressive and trend-setting J-Day celebrations in the Texas diaspora. What began as a poetry reading in a church basement is now 2 weeks of programming, including a film festival and an Underground Railroad reenactment. At these celebrations, Old World often knocks against New World when Miss Juneteenth pageants inherited from towns like Brenham, Texas, which crowns a goddess of liberty, share the stage with Afro-chic street fairs ablaze in faux kente. There are those who think Juneteenth is an embarrassment, that the holiday tells more of our ignorance than of inheritance that predates slavery in the Americas, or that it's too black because it promotes a separate but not equal 4th of July, or not black enough, as it's often funded by white purses, and of course that it's far too symbolic and doesn't solve anything. What does a Juneteenth celebration mean anyway, when the Freedmen's Bureau never gave us our 40 acres and a daggone mule? You know, we still looking for that one. Not thrilled about news of the state holiday, one former Texas legislator had this to say: dancing up and down the streets, drinking red soda water, eating watermelons, I grew out of that a long time ago. I wonder where he from. But Juneteenth critics haven't put a dent in the holiday's grassroots popularity. Folks are hungrier than ever for rituals that enshrine our identity as quote-unquote hyphen Americans. Kwanzaa's metamorphosis in the last few years speaks to this need, and merchandise and opportunities are never far behind, evolving in 2 short decades from cultural nationalist position paper to mainstream ethnic festival profiled in the Times Living section. Kwanzaa has spawned its own designer cookbook and Santa surrogate, Father Kwanzaa. Well, I hope that don't catch on. Now, Juneteenth spreads like spring fever. Also gaining steam are rites of passage ceremonies for young men and women that are based on ancient African models and seek to address modern urban ills. The National Rites of Passage organization held its 5th annual conference this year and spotted last year in Sage, a scholarly journal on black women, plans for a Middle Passage memorial holiday that would fall near Thanksgiving. Buried in their shopping ethos, we tend to forget holidays were once holy days that defined us in more profound ways than what Nintendo Jumbo Pack we got for Christmas. Michael Chaney, an arts activist in Minneapolis, believes that Juneteenth rituals could be more than acts of racial communion. They could have a role in redefining America. We have to realize our own role as historians. We need to ascribe our treasures and offer them to the world. Juneteenth should be a day for all Americans to get in touch with the Africanism within. Juneteenth does have great possibilities as a new American holiday, along with reuniting blood relatives, the families that emancipated slaves made, embraced family beyond kin, family as community. In this tradition, modern Juneteenth doesn't circumscribe any Dick and Jane paean to the nuclear family. You can be a single parent. You can be gay, from D.C. or from Ann Arbor. It's a history that includes you. You can read the Emancipation Proclamation out loud or drink some red soda water if you damn well please. Ooh, did I say that? It was in the book. I'm just reading the text here. Or just take a moment out of your day to think about all the folks that laid down nothing less than their lives so that you could see the 20th century. Wow, man, that was a heavy piece. I didn't realize what I was getting into there. Okay, and we're gonna read about some other holidays that y'all don't know about, but that I've heard of, um, that happen in other parts of the world that are holidays of African descendants who were either forcibly or otherwise relocated to quote unquote the New World. Last thing I want to say, because our time has already run out, about the last part they mentioned there in terms of, how did they say it? Oh, let me see. I have to go back and read what the girl said. Shoot. She said, oh, a holiday for all Americans. Right. For you adults, you all should check out the piece I just posted on Facebook. I didn't post it on YouTube, but it's up on Facebook, and it's by a young lady by the name of Caitlin. Check out her piece, okay? And leave some comments. Tell me what you think about it. She seems to have some opinions, and she's trying to elicit opinions of other people about things like the Black National Anthem, and by extrapolation, she'd have to be talking about Juneteenth as well. Although she didn't mention Juneteenth, because I'm sure she's not that educated to know what Juneteenth is or that it's been around forever. She seems to think that Black history started with Black Lives Matter, who are definitely
it's 9:30
late in the game. Okay, not that they're lame. I'm just saying they late in the game. We've been dealing with this stuff forever, literally. So, at any rate, check it out. Give me some commentary. Let me know what you think. That's on Facebook in the Center of Pan-African Culture, and it's also on our personal page, so you can find that there's the latest post. I just put it up about 15-20 minutes ago. Meanwhile, let me say to all the little ones out there, it's time to put your little head on your little pillow, on your little bed, and close those your eyes, waiting on that sun to rise. And when you feel those sunbeams beaming down on your eyes, you know that it's time for you to rise and shine. So all you little children of mine out there in tubular black facts land, peace out without a doubt. Have a good night. Don't let them bed bugs bite. And as for you adults, before you take flight, I'd like you to do a couple things if you haven't already. Number one, if you're watching on Facebook, give us a like. If you happen to look at us on the tube, then give us a thumbs up. Last but not least, become a sustaining member of the Black Facts family. How do you do that? I just posted up some new links for you to make donations on Facebook. You can do it on YouTube. Just look for the links in the description area of any of our live streams, or our on Facebook or on YouTube, or you can go directly to our website, blakfacts.org is where you'll find me, and even more importantly, a link to donate at the top in the right hand corner. Just click that link and drop a dime, or two if you like, and do it on a recurring basis if you will. If you do it that way, it'll help us for months down the road, as opposed to only lasting for a minute. And then we have to come back and ask you for more. We don't like having to do that. It's too much like begging. We don't like begging. We ain't no dog. Okay? But we are sleepy as a log. We're going to go upstairs, get something to eat, and take our leave. We hope you do the same, and we hope you've been pleased with what we've been doing right here. In the meanwhile, we're just going to wave to Benedict, and we're going to wave to Deborah, as we always like to do, to our guests that wave at us. give everybody a wave, and then we're going to go ahead and transition on out with our extra. Peace out, without a doubt, of course, with justice, because anything less disgusts us. Peace with justice.